And just back to your left hand, sir.
Just over to your right.
Alright, why don't we start right to left?
Sir, up here, please.
I'm coming. Well, it's usually everyone's screaming at the same time.
Just one over your shoulder.
Serene, just right, that's it, love, mate.
Right. Just over to your right, please. Coming over, Josh.
He's larger than life, and I just have to sort of go with it. You know, you deliver. You owe it to Gaston to be that person.
Very natty dresser.
Call my embroiderer.
Look, his shoes. Anyway, go on.
Yes, that was my question actually. If you really put on your career, it's a great song. Go and sing it with all your heart for a new generation.
In a film that you're in, I mean, that must be strange as well. So, just a drink.
Keep going.
The wigs, the hair, it's all about this. He has this ridiculous head. A child when I was 18, going to the cinema and seeing the animation, the music.
Do you almost like the nature of this cast? Please tell me your gut actors.
I'll tell you what my favorite scene was. My favorite scene was doing Gaston, the song.
Emma, all the way over!
Looking up, please.
Pull down.
Emma, this way, please.
Yeah.
Essentially one of the biggest and most beloved musicals of all time, as my first attempt was a little bit nerve-wracking.
And the beast, honestly, you don't look so beastly. You're looking very considerate.
Sing and dance and all the wonderful things I've got to do. Universal, and it just kind of, it just fills you with joy. So I loved it, and the music because it's so wonderful, and I love people who start down. Like sort of keep my dignity intact. Thank you. I mean, this is obviously the country where I grew up, and my family are here tonight to see the film with me, and it's incredibly special. You know, you work on something for so long and you're just desperate for people to see it and to get it out there in the world. I think that it's so joyful, it's so romantic, it's so funny, it's so deep, it's at moments really frightening. I think it's kind of one of these films that is just really universal. Yeah, it just fills you with joy. I mean, you go and watch it and you come out just feeling fuller for having seen it. I just think that if you love the original, then we really fill in parts of the backstory. There's more depth, there's more detail, and I think that if you're a fan, then there's more to enjoy. For me, it's just that she's so non-judgmental. She is able to see past Beast's exterior and even his, you know, his bad temper, frankly, and to see that there's kind of a vulnerable and loving man underneath, and or human even. And I think that people could learn a lot from Belle.
From Christmas onwards, really, it's been building and seeing it in that big theatre. There's nothing like it. My responsibility to my childhood self, who loved this book and this fairy tale and read this to my children so many times, and you know, the number of times we've enjoyed the animated film as well, and I just, you know, we made it with such love for the original. Classic fairy tales have timeless messages in them, and I think every generation that comes to them finds something different in them, and you know, they bear retelling. That's the mark of any great story. You know, you can watch a movie that's very impressive but maybe not want to revisit it, but you know, these movies are loved so much. Very often that's just, you know, it's just a thought or a feeling or something that you're trying to communicate through the Beast. And actually the technology we used has brought such incredible sensitivity to the, you know, to the facial expressions of the Beast. I'm delighted. I can't believe what they've managed to do. And yeah, the way that, you know, fairy tales have embraced this technology and vice versa is amazing. For my kids, it's going to be their, you know, definitive version of Beauty and the Beast. They do love the animated version, but they loved coming on this set and they've loved watching this movie. And yeah, it's pretty strange for them to watch Daddy as the Beast, I think.
I've just found out that all the sort of trailery things have been very big, you know, so I don't follow all that stuff, but I'm very excited about it because I think it's a very good film, and I think Em Watson representing Belle in her feisty feminist way is just superb and deeply lovable and loving, and Dan Stevens is fantastic as the Beast, really fantastic. The cast is amazing. And I was only in it for a very short time, you know, because I'm a teapot for most of the time. Obviously, you know, crockery comes naturally to me, but I only had like a couple, 2 or 3 days on it. But the time I had on it, I just thought, oh, can't we just do something else? Let's just do King Lear or something together. We had Ian McKellen; he could have done it. I get to sing the song, and I honestly, that for me, I rang Angela Lansbury because she's a great mate, and I rang her and said, Anne, I've got to sing it. What am I going to do? Because how am I going to, you know, make it different? And she said, oh darling, she said, don't. She said, it's the song. Just go and sing the song. Forget about me. Go and sing the song. Everyone needs to sing it. Every generation. She gave me such a pat on the, you know, she gave me a bit of confidence because I was a bit worried about it, but it was such a treat to sing it. They've put in this enormous amount of work in order that it lasts, like Mary Poppins, like Singing in the Rain, like those movies that we grew up with that were designed to make you happy from beginning to end. You know what I mean? It's like, I love film, and I love watching film that is very deep and makes me feel differently about the world and about myself. But sometimes I really want to go and see a quality movie that makes me happy from beginning to end, and that's not very fashionable at the moment. So I'm very grateful, and our director, who's just there, Bill Condon, is one of the nicest people on the planet, and funny. So everyone he cast is funny. So it's got humour and wit in it as well, and that's deeply important. I don't think anything lasts without laughs.
This one's been an especially long time in the process. Like, what is it, like 18 months altogether since we wrapped the movie. So yeah, we've all been dying to talk about it. We're very proud of it, and it's very special. And everyone we know that's seen it has already loved it already. Well, it has some beautiful messages in it. I mean, there's a very strong female lead, which has been brought into the 21st century in a very different reimagining by Emma, who's done an extraordinary job, giving her, you know, a real a real track of an independent woman, and it's wonderful to see. There's also some very clear messages of never judge a book by its cover. You know, don't be scared of what you don't know. Don't fear it, and dig a bit deeper and find the truth and what might be a little scary on the outside. You know, and love conquers all. You only take on a role like Gaston if you feel like you're going to have fun playing him, even though he is dastardly and self-absorbed to such a level. It's extraordinary, but it's fun. You know, he's a larger-than-life narcissist, and but he's also quite charming, and so I tried to play both aspects as much as I could, and I hope people can laugh at him as much as hate him by the end of the film. Josh is funny whether he's got a script or not. I mean, he makes us all laugh. He was a joy to work with, and we had so much fun. I mean, you can't really have a Gaston without a LeFou, and vice versa. They play off each other, and they rely on each other for a lot in the film. You know, support, ego massaging, and being part of the gang. And we had a lot of fun playing with that dynamic and giving it a much more depth than the animation has, and that was really fun to do as well. I've been trying to work out if there's a project where I should, pursue so I can use my singing ability on screen, and this one was it. This one was it, and it just all made total sense. It was a magic moment, and it's just very nice to merge my singing career with my acting career, which has almost been an equal amount of time now. So, it's a very special moment for me.
It's going back to an older era, a more nostalgic era, like the MGM musicals of the 40s, and so it's great to be able to bring this art form to film and then sort of like meld it into something even bigger. Cinema absolutely has the ability to sort of extend and broaden the scale of the scope of reach, you know, and so, you know, for kids who don't necessarily get a chance to go to musicals, you know, either on the West End or Broadway, we can have them right there in their silver screen. Yeah. Well, it's a classic story. It touches, you know, down to the essence of what is most human about us, which that's our soul, you know, and that the soul is what is most important, and to look within and to be to love who you are and to love past the look and the facade. What is inside is what's most important. That's a timeless sort of moral. It's a timeless lesson to learn. When you're making a film like this, of course, I think you do think about the generations to come. I know for me, one of the reasons in signing on to do the film was because I have children of my own, and hopefully they'll be proud of the work I do. They're more excited about meeting and the fact that I'm in a film with Emma Watson. But nonetheless, you know, you hope that it continues to touch generations to come. So not only other generations, but my children and my generations as well. I think Beauty and the Beast has an incredible message that you can take into your everyday life, which is to never judge a book by its cover. Always look past the physical appearance into the soul. The soul is what's most important. Yeah.
I mean, I think that so much of what defined LeFou in the original animated classic was he was a character that was almost created for the animated form, right? He had his teeth knocked out, he had animals sitting all over his head. So we definitely needed to go beyond that to create a live action version. And Bill Condon, our brilliant director, was so open to that exploration. And I think there's some surprising elements to this LeFou. He definitely, everything isn't what it first appears to be. And he's got a journey along the way that I think causes him to ask questions. That was the selling point to me, is bringing a song by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken to life on the silver screen that's a dream come true. I was 10 years old when the movie was released, and I remember sitting in the theater and seeing the audience applaud at the end of Be Our Guest and Gaston and even Beauty and the Beast, and that was a very unusual thing back then. So now, being able to, you know, create it for a new generation with living, breathing performers, hopefully this will be as definitive a classic for my kids and that generation as that movie was for me. I remember the day that I walked into the ballroom to watch Dan and Emma perform the waltz. And I remember I just got goosebumps and I started to tear up because it's such an iconic moment. And seeing that moment play out before my eyes was magical. Each of these characters is a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, given the benefit of having that amazing movie come before it and stand as a platform for what we did. I think the expansion of the musical numbers is also pretty incredible, and hopefully those songs are added to the Disney canon and kids are singing them 25 years from now. I knew that with Bill Condon and this ridiculous all-star cast that there was an opportunity to create something very special, and we all felt the responsibility to do everything that we could to make sure that we delivered on that promise. Tonight is going to be very special because it's the first time I will have seen this with an audience, and this movie is made for audiences. It's not a small movie that deserves to be seen just on the television, and I think that seeing these numbers and seeing these characters, seeing these dances, seeing these sets brought to life and sharing it with everybody, this is what we've been waiting for.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous film, as you'll see, people will see. I think it takes that wonderful film from the 90s and brings it to a whole another level for a new generation. And that's one of the reasons you do them, because you want to make movies that's one of the reasons we make all movies, in a way, because they last forever. But also to make a movie like this, the kids are going to be watching it, and it's nice to be a part of that. When I walked onto the set for the first time, I've been in a lot of movies, big movies, and when I walked onto that set the first time, it took my breath away. The ballroom, it was extraordinary. All fairy tales are really, they're expressions of our greatest fears and our greatest fantasies. And I think there's a very strong female character at the center of this, which I think is really, really wonderful and great for kids to see. But it plays on all of so many of our fears: the fear of the fear of being trapped, the fear of being people's fears of people who are different, and it's very much about vanity and how we view ourselves and what we think is important, and what really is important is what's within. I think they'll feel all the things that they felt when they saw the original film, but I think they'll feel them 10 times over.
It gives a lot more backstory than the old one did, and I think that helps for people who haven't really seen it. She was really nice. She really took me under her wing. It was so fun. It has absolutely everything, so princesses, battles, castles, beasts, it's got it all.
It all centres, doesn't it, around Belle, the beauty. And it hasn't just gone to a pretty young actress whose main quality is blandness, and that you've got a feisty girl, and that's appropriate. I think Belle is such a person. She's got a mind of her own and a wit of her own, and she's a straightforward, no-nonsense sort of person, and hence it's very attractive when you see her falling in love. You fall in love with her, really. It's never a question of improving. It's just sort of doing an entirely new production in a new medium, really. When you translate something into live action, it means that, you've got to approach the characters differently. Gaston and LeFou, they're hilarious in the animated film, but those people don't roam the earth, the punching bag, that LeFou is, for example. So you want to take all that stuff and translate it into something that is both real, to a degree, obviously, within the realm of fairy tales, and also more contemporary. If you're going to make a real movie, Mrs. Potts has to be real. She doesn't. You don't want her to feel animated. There's no point in doing that, But I do think finally we're at the point where technology allows us to do that. I never cast anybody because they looked like the animated character, although it was weird when Luke pulled on that Gaston drag, suddenly it was like, oh my God, it was like an animated cell come to life, you know? But it was, and you know, the characters, again, because they're in a live action format, they're all different, you know? Dan Stevens, for example, the Beast in the original movie was illiterate, you know, and Dan is a highly sophisticated man, and a lot of that is reflected in the movie that we made. For me, I saw that animated film when I was an adult, you know, and it really appealed to me. I saw it several times, you know. So you just want to make sure that it's speaking to everyone, because I do think it is as much a grown-up story as it is for kids. I think that reminder that we need, you know, often, that, you know, to kind of take a step back, look closer, dig deeper, you know. Don't just stick with the surface, because these days there are a lot of pretty surfaces to be distracted by.
I know there's a lot of affection. At the same time, you know, we live in a world where there's a lot of entertainments and a lot of movies and a lot of plays and a lot of musicals. And Beauty and the Beast seems to really engender this affection for people that is great. I've had that a number of times in my career where you just look and you go, huh, look at this. Well, I think, first of all, as far as the story, it's deeply romantic. And it's got so much mystery and emotional texture in it, and so much period in it, and but I think it's rich in that way. And I'd like to think that the approach that we took in our original score is something that really intrigued and tickled people, and they have grown very emotionally attached to it. It was really the contribution of Bill Condon as the director that was essential to me getting to those new song moments, because it was a collaboration. He, as a director who's also a book writer, knows and has a vision of where he wants the movie to go. We want to establish, you know, more of the French, more of the 18th century, more of the backstory. Thus, the music box number, which, you know, How Does a Moment Last Forever, and the new Beast song, which moves us to another place with the Beast going up the turrets of the castle, watching Belle go off to the distance, and this lullaby, you know, where each of the objects and the Beast and Belle are remembering the days before the spell, Days in the Sun. They all felt organically important and good moments, ones that hadn't been dealt with in earlier incarnations. And look, if they hadn't worked, we would have written something else. But they did work, and you know, it's all in process, and that's you know what it's all about for me, is the process. Well, it was wonderful, and it was a little terrifying for them. They were both, I think, you know, a little bit nervous about coming in the studio and singing. It was a very vulnerable feeling. Which always surprises me, because I was thinking, you know, if I had to act, I'd be terrified. And then the rest of the cast, of course, are mostly pros in musical theater. It was a great combination, and they're all such good actors, and that's really what's most important.
Hey, Lisa here. Now, keeping with animation, did you know that the Oscar for Best Animated Feature was first awarded in 2001, with the first winner being Shrek? Now, for a film to be eligible, the animated feature must have a running time of more than 40 minutes, in which the characters' performances are created using a frame-by-frame technique. Also, a significant number of the major characters are animated, and the animation must figure in no less than 75% of the running time. Now, keeping with animation and the Oscars, Beauty and the Beast, Up and Toy Story 3 are the only animated films to have been nominated for Best Picture Oscar. However, Walt Disney was awarded an honorary Oscar in 1938 for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. What's your favourite animated movie? Let me know in the comments below. Keep up to date on all things animation by subscribing to our channel and clicking on the notification bell. See you next time.